Hey traders, this is Taylor with Top Pick Trading. I want to give you guys Friday bar by bar. Sorry I didn't make one last week. I had a pickleball tournament on Friday, so kind of forgot about it and didn't have time to make the video. So today is August 16th, 2024, and this will be our lesson. We're looking at the ES 2000 tick chart, and we are using a 21 EMA, and that's our only indicator. So you would start around 8 a.m. This bar represents that right here. So we draw our overnight price action. It doesn't appear that we're really ranging, but we do have an overnight high. It appears we're still working lower. And there may be some large channel at play here that looks pretty decent. Appears we have a couple legs up, and then we really started into this downtrend. So right now we're thinking second entry short at EMA. And we're working lower. Maybe some overshoot. It's very steep though. It may just start from the lower high. That actually looks decent right there, so this one may not be valid. This fits prices pretty well still, so I'd be watching this one more likely. Still could be a little overshoot, but let's see how we correct. Still just chopping lower. Oh, sorry. Let's see. There we go. Coming back to the EMA, we still don't have a first entry yet. We've got a micro uptrend working here. Wait for that to likely want to play out. This keeps moving on me just a little bit. So you can see there could be an overshoot here. We'll keep that in mind. It led to a break, so that's pretty expected. Let's see if the EMA holds. So we get a first entry, and now we get the new high. Unfortunately, it pushes above the EMA. We get a little doji bar, just chopping sideways now. And now we get this bullish reversal bar. No way I'm taking this long yet. It's a failed second entry short by the count, but no way to enter this long in such a big downtrend. So we work higher here, chop sideways, and right at the open, push higher. Got the break and new high now. Come back to the EMA. We reject off it once more. And there may be some wider channel at play here. That looks like that has a break new high. It may be a spike in channel. Clearly, we've got a spike up here, and maybe it's rolled over to a flatter channel. Just chopping sideways. Not really sure here because, you know, this could still retest. We haven't even corrected 50% of this downward move. But the EMA appears to be holding, and you can see it bounces there once again. This technically is a second entry, but the bar is not any good, and we came up short of the upper side of the trend line. So no trade here. Now we get this higher low. Just a first entry, unfortunately. And we're coming up short of this trend line twice, and we're still wary of this downtrend. So it's also very sideways right in this area. And we're near that resistance. You can see it right in here. So no trade there, in my opinion. Does work, pushes higher. Break the trend. And really, you could almost widen it just a bit more. Still fits decently well. We'll keep it there with a little break for now. We get a first entry, and actually it breaks below, and we get a second entry, but it's so sideways. 3 dojis stacking up like that. I don't like considering that. And I don't know if this broke higher first and stopped you out, but with those 3 dojis like that, I wouldn't consider this, especially with this downward move. If we're uphill all day, you know, you can start getting more aggressive, but seeing that we traded down through the overnight so strongly, you need a really nice setup to go long at this point. And we get another nice bar, but once again, look at all those dojis. Another nice bar, same thing, still dojis. It does work higher. That EMA just kept holding. Finally gets a break, new high. Still just chopping sideways. Looks like maybe there's a little range in this area. Right in here. Yep, it reacts off that resistance. Now we're just mid-range. We've got to break a new high from the spiking channel. So no trade here. Bar's not great anyway. It does work, pushes higher. Now we've got a break, and it looks like 2 legs up. And you can see we fill that gap, that closed gap from yesterday to the tick right here. That's this red dotted line. And we sell off. We get a second entry, but just floating, and all of our uptrends have played out, it appears. Still working higher. There may be something wider you can start looking for that fits decently well. But, you know, for these trades right in here, you wouldn't have known that yet. It'd be hard to trust at that point. but this does look decent here. Looks like maybe there's a little bit of an overshoot though. Let's see, you got a higher low here, but still just stacking sideways and floating, especially after an overshoot. Come back to the EMA here. No good bar, unfortunately. Chop sideways would have worked, but no setup. Still working higher. You get a first entry long, and now second entry is a bad bar. Does look like it wants to hold. You get this higher low, but it's an inside bar and it's looking sideways. It would have stopped you out. Working lower now. Looks like that may have a break in new low. Pushes lower, first entry, new low again. And then you get this another first entry, lower high. Maybe there's something wider at play now. Maybe like a little spike in channel. This looks like it fits decently well. Hard to know that at the time for these setups, but these aren't really trades you'd want to take anyway. Doesn't really look, it's technically a failure by the count, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like 3 swings. And then the lower high, once again, just a first entry. Chopping sideways, let's see if we can get a second entry short. We get a first entry, and it pushes to a new low. Sells off strongly, looks like we have an overshoot for that. Maybe 2-tiered, but we'll keep it as an overshoot for now. This may still want to retest. Bounces strongly. Pushes back to the EMA. You get like a higher low, but right under that EMA. Second entry. After an overshoot and this strong of a move up, this is probably going to retest, especially since we traded up into this area. You can see we bounced at a somewhat critical area from earlier, right around where all these dojis formed. And we get like a failed second entry short, but it's below the EMA. So nothing here. It's just hard to know because this may want to retest, but then this downtrend may also want to retest. You've also got this trend that probably wants to retest as well. At this point, you can see we've corrected almost 3/4 of the downtrend. So this may not retest. This overshoot may be been enough to reverse it. So especially since we're finding support in this area. And you get this just a higher low once again, so no setup. It's really sideways right in here too. You do get the retest on, excuse me, this micro trend here. Just chopping sideways. It looks like maybe there's another little range in this area. Looks decent. Second entry long's a doji and kind of mid-range by the time it closes. Would have ticked you in and then failed. Let's see if we can get maybe something at support. And no, we push up higher. Just chopping sideways. We've got another trend forming here. Looks like maybe it even has a break, new high. Maybe there's something larger at play now. We got 3 swings. Holds decently well. We'll keep an eye on this. It's kind of wide, so it's not a sure thing, but we'll keep an eye on it. Still pushing higher. Maybe this is something wider. Just widen it. It doesn't look great, but it fits okay off these upper swings here. Kind of empty right in here though. First entry new high. Turns off the potential bigger trend line midline. Still pushing higher, so now this looks like probably a spiking channel as well. Here's the spike. And there's the channel. It fits really well off the highs. And now it overshoots. So it's really hard to read this. Nothing's holding great. We just widen this slightly. Still looks like there's an overshoot no matter how you draw it. You get a second entry, but it's just floating. And you can see that key entry point still held. And now it's bouncing there again. Let's see if it holds once again. And maybe a little break. Let's see if we widen this slightly, if we can get it to kind of fit. And that still fits decently well. Maybe it's 2-tiered. A little odd, but still holding, and we're obviously pushing higher, but nothing's even coming back to the EMA all the way. So just nothing here. And let's keep an eye on that overnight highs. We push through that area strongly, come off the upper side of this trend line, and yeah, we sell off. So this trend line seems to be valid. Let's see if this is still in play. Maybe just the smallest overshoot may not be enough to matter. And we get this second entry, but notice the size of this setup bar. Rather large, closing right in the EMA. And this is just a body bar, the signal bar right here, with not much wick at all. So I think it's risky, especially right into those overnight highs right there. If we got a really nice bar with a little more room, maybe, but just the context here, coming off the upper side of the trend line and the overnight highs with this local price action, it's a little risky for me. Chops higher, no higher low. Looks like maybe you could have gotten a small scalp out of it. Notice it's really reacting at those overnight highs though. And then we get this bar. Obviously, a lot of congestion in this area. It's a really nice bar to go short, but you know, this is got a good chance of wanting to retest. We also broke out of the high side of this little range. Really nice bar, but it's not technically even a second entry unless you consider this a double bottom. So I think it's also risky. So no setup there. Would have worked nicely. Bounces at the midline. We still may retest this uptrend here, but we're also coming off the overnight highs, like I said, so it could reverse. This could be a range day in the end. It's really hard to know. Get this higher low, but it's an inside bar, unfortunately. Got this micro downtrend in play. It's got a break, and it looks like it may want to retest. It does retest. Bouncing at this general support area. Looks like we had a little failed breakout from it. We get this higher low, but the bar's not all that strong. The EMA hold once again. So if you had a really nice bar here with a little more room, maybe, but coming off that little failed breakout there, coming off the overnight highs, coming off the upper side of the trend line, there's a good chance we're going to come back and test this lower side of this trend line. So I think it's also a bit risky. Looks like it would have worked for a decent scalp. Back to the support area, bounces once again. Just no setups here though. You get a short here, but the upper side, we are at the overnight highs, but this range appears to be maybe a little bit longer or a little bit wider with a higher upper side here. You can see it would have worked. You get this second entry, but you've got two legs up already. If you draw your micro uptrend, you've got a break new high. It looks like all in one bar. You could say there's something wider here, but it feels a little wide in range action to trust that. Get this a different color. You can see that would have failed you. You're just mid-range here. It's just hard to know. Favors mid-range are quite risky. Keep making it the same color. There we go. You get this just lower high right into the support anyway. Now we get this bounce off. Looks like maybe the support area, but this micro downtrend appears to be in play. Looks like it would have worked for a small scalp. Now you get a higher low, but this micro downtrend still may want to retest. And we're not really trusting the EMA. You can see we're slicing on both sides of it, so you can't just trust the EMA alone there. Got to play range rules. And you get this second entry short, but once again, kind of mid-range. I mean, there is some resistance. It may be something smaller like this, but we're still not even back to that upper side of it yet. So I don't think there's a setup there. And I just noticed we're 12 minutes past 3:30 anyway, so let's see. So take a look at the whole day. And you can see that trend line ended up pretty much holding, maybe a little break here, but too late anyway. So yeah, that's how I saw it today. Very slow day, methodical, but still hard to read. A lot of channels that ended up kind of traveling on you and turning out to be wider variance, and it was just hard to know. So I don't see any setups today. Yeah, it's a tough day and just not much there. I mean, there's some really aggressive ones you could consider, like this higher low here. We got my mouse. But still into some resistance, and you're worried about this downtrend retesting at that point still. So, you know, if you got a better bar here, it's a little bit lower, maybe, but even still, you just broke out. That's really the second test. You had a test right here, but didn't really feel like a range over here at this point. So, yeah, I don't see any setups. So it's a tough day. Maybe if you had some better bars in different spots, you could consider something, but on this chart, nothing. So. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're interested in trading like we do, check out our website, topicktrading.com. We've got a course available taught by our mentor, Eric. And let me know if you have any questions. You can email us, taylor@topicktrading.com for more info, or comment in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great weekend.